Let me tell you about an incredible testimony that shows how God can undertake the most extreme case. This story is about a man named Smith Wigglesworth, a powerful man of God who saw many miraculous healings in his ministry. One day, Smith had been visiting the sick with a friend of his, an architect, when they received an urgent request to pray for a man who was dying. They hopped in a car and rushed to a large house in the country where the man resided. Upon arrival, they found out that the man's condition was critical. His body had been broken, he was ruptured, and his bowels had been punctured in 2 places, causing abscesses and blood poisoning. The doctors had telegraphed to London for a great specialist, and they were waiting for his arrival at the railway station when Smith and his friend got there. The man was very near death and couldn't speak, so Smith turned to his wife and said,
"If you desire, we will anoint and pray for him."
"That is why I sent for you,"
she replied. Smith anointed him in the name of the Lord and asked the Lord to raise him up. But apparently, there was no immediate change. As they were leaving the room, the 3 doctors arrived and were preparing to operate on the man. Smith and his friend went downstairs while the doctors came up the front staircase. Smith turned to his friend and said,
"Friend, let me have hold of your hands."
They held each other's hands and agreed together, according to Matthew 18:19, that this man shall be brought out of death. They laid the whole matter before God and said, "Father, we believe." Meanwhile, the wife of the man went back to the doctors and said,
"Give me 10 minutes.
They replied,
"We can't afford to. The man is dying and it is your husband's only chance."
But the wife insisted and went back to the room where her husband was lying. Smith went to her and said,
"This man is your husband, and he cannot speak for himself. It is now the time for you to put your whole trust in God and prove him wholly true. You can save him from 1,000 doctors. You must stand with God and for God in this critical hour."
After some time, they all went back to the room, and to everyone's amazement, the man spoke, "God has done it." They rolled back the bedclothes, and the doctors examined him, and the abscesses were cut clear away. The nurse cleaned the place where they had been. The doctors could see the bowels still open, and they said to the wife,
"We know that you have great faith, and we can see that a miracle has taken place. But you must let us unite these broken parts and put in silver tubes, and we know that your husband will be all right after that, and it need not interfere with your faith at all."
But the wife stood firm in her faith and declared,
"God has done the first thing, and he can do the rest. No man shall touch him now."
And God healed the whole thing. The man's body was made whole, and he was healed completely. Do you ask by what power this was done? The answer is in the words of Peter. His name, through faith in his name, made this man strong.